6,420 pounds, Freedom Express 281 rear living with Super Slide here at Haylet RV of Coldwater, Michigan. We are seeing this in Liberty Edition today, which, if you think of this more like a car, it's what you call the upgraded trim package. Consider this the LX instead of the LT, essentially. I'll try to point out a couple of the differences, specifically in the Liberty series as we go, in case you're more curious in the base model ultralight, but neither here nor there. If you're looking for a high-class, half-ton towable couples camper, I think that your search may be over. So as we come up these new stable steps, and first of all, can I just gush for a second about how much I love these things? I just like it that the whole trailer doesn't rock and roll around, you know, when you come and go. Now, with the slide out closed, a problem that a lot of RVs have is they get pinched with the slides closed, especially when a trailer has this like extra big U-dinette like the Freedom Express 281 has. However, even despite the extra deep countertop, even despite the extra deep U-dinette, if you note, you can still do a travel trailer two-step and you can slide through here. And because they have this side, or I guess kind of middle access walk-through bathroom, we can actually access the bedroom, the bathroom, everything in its entirety, as it were, if I could speak properly. It's early and I'm still tongue-tied yet. So, you know, super traveling friendly and super packing friendly. Really just the storage, the tiny bit of storage around the entertainment center is the only thing you're going to kind of, I guess, miss out on, you could say. Now, this is a brand for which I have a lot of personal respect. As a person who goes camping, I see little things that they do that were obviously done with great intention. None of this trailer is accidental, and I really think it's one of the best appointed lightweight trailers for an actual end user. Not just they're made not just for selling, they're made not just for buying, they're made for actually using. And I'm going to point out a bunch of little things that lead me to believe that as we go. First of all, something I appreciate, and something that is puts Freedom Express in a very exclusive club, is that this is an ultralight trailer that is bigger. It's large but light, and it has taller ceilings. Now, most trailers have a 6.5-foot wall. Some have the bubble vaulted roof, some do not. Freedom Express has a 6'9" wall, 3-inch taller wall, with a linear interior profile. Why I prefer that, personally, guys, and opinions can vary, of course. This is just my 2 cents. When the wall is taller, it means that the slide out can be taller. It means that the cabinetry can be larger. It means the shower can be guaranteed better. A vaulted ceiling might give me a taller shower, might not, but it won't give me bigger cabinets. It won't give me a taller slide out like this does. That's part of why I like it. Now again, we're looking at the Liberty Edition. I'll point out some of those differences as we go, like the full Liberty pushback recliners that we have back here. And this thing has no shortage of windows. Now, when the camera's not pointed directly at a window, you can see the lighter, brighter interior decor in here. And then you'll find little accent night lights, like on those backlit, I call them night light knobs on the stove. There's accent lighting inside the cabinets, overhead the sofa. There's accent lighting under the bench ends of the dinette. We'll get to those in a second. I already kind of mentioned here how these are pushback recliners, but what's great is all you have to do, you just quick turn them like you saw when the slide was closed. You don't have to really wrestle with them. You don't have to like slide them around. You just twist them real fast, close the slide up, you're good to go. Now remember how I mentioned intelligent appointments for end users? This little side stand over here is one of those. And although it is kind of handy to have a nice side stand by a chair inside with a power outlet, obviously, what it's really doing, guys, is that's actually where things like your power cord are going to be run outside. And that rear corner is the most easy access, logical place possible for you know, your power hookup, because that's where most parks are going to have it. It just makes the most sense. Now, we do have a really aggressive LED lighting package in here, and you can see that they use quite a bit of them. It lights up very nicely. But one of the things you can't see is an optional upgrade. I can't guarantee it'll be on every one of these. I can tell you that we haven't stocked a 281 Liberty Freedom without it, and that is a larger 15,000 BTU air conditioner. Now, basically, guys, it recycles the air inside the RV 6 times an hour instead of 4. And it only costs, I mean, if it even costs $200, I don't even know if it costs $200, but here's the thing. You can keep this RV on a 30-amp campsite and enjoy more powerful cooling. You don't have to have a 50-amp campsite for this one. and you won't regret it. Like, if you had the normal air conditioner, it'd probably be fine, but you might regret it. With the more powerful air conditioner, the one thing I know for sure is that you will not regret that extra cooling power. Now, this is most certainly a couples camper, like very much so. However, it also is one of the best couples campers about sleeping guests. A lot of times when you run into models that have rear recliners like this, if you want to open the hide-a-bed, you actually sometimes have to wrestle the chairs and block off the door. You don't have to do that here, and in fact, you have so much room, you can even still use one of those pushback recliners over there. Now, in addition to that, the way that we have this one equipped and outfitted, you're picking up a tri-fold sleeper sofa here, as well as this big, I think it's actually 80 inches or 88-inch long U-dinette. So we have a couples RV with a 5-guest sleeping capacity for a total sleeping capacity of 7 people. Not too bad for a couples camping RV. If you want to have the grandkids and your kids over for the weekend, you'll have the room to do it. Then again, you could just enjoy the RV for your own purposes and tell everyone else to stay home. Now, while I'm standing here next to a window, one of the things I do want to point out, this is a Liberty difference versus the Ultra series, is you'll get the full blackout roller nightshades as opposed to the pleated nightshades like you find in the rest of them. Pleated shades are fine, but the roller nightshades are just that kind of has that sort of next level feel, that luxury touch feel. So all of our cabinetry is going to have hardwood cabinet doors. It's all pocket screwed together. It's made to last. And again, we have a taller slide here, which is nice. For bigger folks like me, now a taller slide does a couple things. One, more headroom, but 2, bigger windows. You have taller, especially the slide side airflow windows here. Now, we've already seen how this is a tri-fold sleeper sofa. If you look down below, you get a little bit of a glimpse there. It does have LED accent lighting below. It really shows up at night, just during the day. You're not going to see it so much. Now, your sofa, the little extra Freedom Express touches, this is the stuff that wins me over. Like, as silly as it sounds, but having cup holders in the armrests of the Freedom Express, that stuff is handy. That is daily use things that a lot of RVs tend to overlook and leave out. Now, as I mentioned when it was opened up in sleeper mode, we have a huge dinette here. And we're not done talking about that, but real quick, I do want to look at the entertainment center, because this floor plan is very entertainment focused. The TV is up where everybody can see it. If somebody's like sitting at the dinette table over here, they're not going to be in anyone else's way, which is nice. That's part of the reason it's up high. Now the TV can pivot out for easy viewing. I've got it bumped out just a little bit. I didn't want it in my way as I was walking through, but you can tilt that out to easily face the dinette seating. Below it, DVD Bluetooth stereo, pretty common fare nowadays, but we do have a very handy device charging station right here. Also very handy if you want to sort of expand your entertainment options. Liberty Edition will upgrade us to this electric space heating fireplace. We use the word fireplace, it's just a space heater, but it looks cool. You can also use it just for LED visuals if you just want those neat visual elements without all the extra heat via remote control, which is, you know, pretty neat and pretty handy. Now, I said we'd come back to the dinette. I wasn't joking, because this thing just explodes with a whole bunch of fun storage space. Liberty Edition will give us these full extension drawers. The non-Liberty version will have cabinet and doors on that, and both of them, thankfully, and this is another one of those tiny Freedom Express touches that I like. They give you easy access to the storage in the back of the U-dinette, and that's something very few brands do. Rockwood will tend to give you outside storage access to the back of that dinette, but almost no brands make it easy to get to it from the interior, except for Freedom Express. Now, in addition to having these big, easy access drawers, you can see that the table is obviously free floating with that elliptical base. What's cool there, if you want to fold it down and use it like a coffee table, or even take it outside for dual picnic table use, because we already have one outdoor picnic table included on this, you're going to be good to go there. So as long as we're doing storage, I figured, hey, why not? Let's just blast this sucker open and look at everything. Remember, we do have a little indirect LED accent light up in that cabinet over the sofa. Again, very, very handy for nightlight use. And this is where we start to see right here the benefit of that 3-inch taller interior ceiling, that we get the bigger overhead cabinet spaces. And these are, I mean, very respectably deep. You can really throw a lot of stuff up there. But here in the kitchen is where it becomes obvious we have bigger cabinets. Now, some brands like a J-Flight with a taller ceiling, they will tend to put a shelf in a bigger overhead cabinet like this. Freedom Express doesn't. They kind of give you the choice. If you want to throw a little shelf divider in there, easy to do so. And it's not going to hurt your warranty or anything silly like that. It just makes it easier for extra storage. Or you can put big, tall stuff in there if need be. Now, as we come down here, this is an area where you start to see, it's very easy to overlook some of the little detail things on the Freedom Express. First, just little touches like this. This is classic Coachmen camping right here. Your mini blind draw shade over the kitchen breeze window right here. They give you a little tie-down anchor for that, so it's not dragging across the countertop. Now, that does have to be a metal mini blind because it is close enough to a fire source, a cooking source here, that it does need to go to a metal mini blind for fire code. But what's nice is that string, you just don't have it laying around everywhere. Now, at a glance, you look at this and you're like, well, yeah, it's got about the same amount of counter space as anything else I've seen. But you need to take a little bit different perspective on it. Because if you step over here, you see that you've got like almost an extra foot of counter space behind the sink and the stove. And that is just begging for things like, well, if nothing else, like the way I have it right now, you've got this solid surface flush mount sink cover here and the flush mount stove cover, giving us a very nice chunk of prep area. So again, couples camper, but if we are going to have a couple people over for the weekend, if you need to really set out the spread, you have the space and ability to do so. Now, laminated sidewall trailers will typically have power outlets under the overhead cabinets because it's very difficult to put wiring in and outlets in the sidewalls of a 1.5-inch wall laminated RV. That's pretty common across the industry. Now, Liberty Edition is giving us the solid surface countertops and that upgraded, very residential looking sink fixture right there with that pull-out sprayer head faucet. But we will still maintain the stone cast sink down here. Now, stone cast is not plastic, it's not stainless, so it's not going to, it's rated for up to 500 degrees, guys, and it can't rust. It's also lightweight. It is a fantastic fixture to have in here. Now, below that, though, one of my favorite Freedom Express things is the utensil drawer. And this sucker right here wraps around the sink and gives us the best use of space under a sink I've ever seen in an RV to date. And I have seen tens of thousands of RVs in my career now. What's also kind of cool here is this little organizer you can just take outside if you want to. So it's very portable and, very handy for like if you're going to do some outdoor picnic grilling or whatever. Now below the sink level here, excellent space. They didn't let anything get wasted, and I like the extra drawers there right next to that stove, right next to the sink. Very campsite cook friendly, very centralized there. I do like the updated, at the time of this filming at least, backsplash under the updated, at the time of this filming at least, stove and hood cover here. Those are two of the only like interior visible updates compared to the previous generation you're going to see. Now, we already talked about the potential size of the air conditioner here. Liberty Edition will give us an 8 cubic foot fridge freezer. The non-Liberty version, you'll have a 6 cubic foot fridge, but I want to draw your attention to that pantry right beside the fridge, because that is something that a lot of rear living room travel trailers tend to lack. As we move forward into the bathroom, we key back into one of my favorite aspects of this camper, and that is the taller ceiling height, because it gives us the extra shower room that a bigger person like me just really needs for comfort. Case in point, if I hop in here, now I do have to duck a little bit under that little bar, but that's normal. I think tall folks are used to that. But you see here, my head doesn't have to be in the bubble. Now, if this were a 6.5 foot sidewall with the vaulted ceiling, I could probably still stand in the shower if I stood over here. But in this one, I can stand anywhere I want. And the radius nature of the shower enclosure gives me lots of elbow room whenever and wherever I need it. Now, you've got a very nice medicine cabinet over here. It keeps the clutter off of the bathroom sink next to that GFI protected outlet there. And they gave you whatever storage they could. They did kind of half panel off behind the sink there because there's some plumbing type stuff. They don't want cargo to potentially shift and damage or anything like that. Now, one thing I didn't point out in the living room, and I'm thinking about it while we're looking down here, and hopefully I'm not making you seasick as I spin. no heat vents in the floor of a Freedom Express. They use cabinet ducted heating so that you don't have the chance of getting like dirt and debris in your, in floor vents. Now we've got a porcelain foot flush stool here, so a nicer grade fixture with a little easy and convenience factor. Both of these doors are fully mirrored, so it's very easy to, like, see the back of your hair or make sure your shirt's tucked in or whatever, make sure your pants are fitting right for that day. Now over here, on the right side, we've got a dedicated hanging closet with those hanging racks, which do a better job of keeping your coat hangers in place in transit. But on the left, you see a hanging rack with shelves right below it. It's because these are removable. So if you need linen space or dry storage, overflow pantry storage, hanging closet space, whatever you need, this one's going to give it to you. Just like X. X going to give it to you. Doesn't matter. Very few people are probably going to get that reference in the RV business. So, moving on. Now, up front here, the bedroom hasn't changed much. They did give it just a little visible update with that shiplap front accent wall there. Although we are maintaining that recessed headboard in the Liberty Edition. What's kind of cool here, if you hop in bed with me, if we take a look up top, you see two things. A blue LED reading light, which is obviously not on, and then a set of USB plugs there to keep your phones and stuff charged up, which is really handy. Now, not only is this camper taller, but it's got a longer bed. This has the 60 by 80 true queen bed in it, not a short camp queen. And we do have TV hookups on the opposing wall if you are so inclined. And now, we saw that this is very traveling friendly with that pass-through area in the kitchen, but if you don't want to have to do the travel trailer two-step to get around the dining table, you don't have to, because you have a door right here to get to the bathroom and the kitchen area very easily. And if you're worried about privacy, because I've talked to some people like, I don't like a door that goes right to my bed, deadbolt it. Deadbolt it, no one's going to come in from the outside, unless they're, 12 foot tall and furry and have claws, and that's called a bear. Back outside, outside it's very easy to see that we're looking at a Liberty version. One, because the sticker says Liberty instead of Ultralight, but two, you've got that full nose cap. You can see the little bit different power tongue jack arrangement on here, because this gives us the full control over the power stabilizer system. It's kind of neat that you never even, you don't even have to bend over at the waist to be able to operate all of your jacks. It's all right here at like waist to chest level, depending on how tall you are. The outside grill sticking out the side of the camper right there, that is an optional piece of equipment that we like to add to these. What's kind of cool though is it doesn't really take up any storage space inside, because obviously it self-stores inside the camper, but it actually slides under the refrigerator in an area that's not easily accessible inside. Now, compared to the previous generation, visibly very little has changed. The biggest obvious difference here is going to be the inclusion on the LCI stable step with those adjustable foot pegs and that extra tall top plank on there, which is kind of cool because really you can sort of just use it like an extra seat. Plus, if you do need to stand at the top step to, jiggle your keys out of your pocket or whatever with one hand, there's just more foot space, a little more coverage in that regard. As long as we're over here, just a quick note on the wide stance spread axles. We'll come back to those. Actually, we'll come back to the whole patio area at the end here. Now, your main, quote, entry step, whatever's deemed as the main step, will get those LCI steps. But if there is a second entry door, as is the case on the 281, in the Liberty Edition, you still upgrade to the nicer aluminum steps. Lighter weight, easier to see at night. Simple side mount solar prep plug right there for portable panel systems. Liberty Edition will upgrade us from the twist latches to the metallic slam latches, which is nice. Although any Freedom Express is going to have those easy one-hand holdbacks on the magnet holdbacks on the baggage doors. And I do want to take a moment to point out the sealed piano hinge on this big baggage door to help protect that from excessive weather exposure. And we are being overwatched by Pete the Coachman dog. Now down here, it's getting ready to rain, by the way, so pardon my umbrella. Down here we've got a 42 cubic foot front storage compartment. Sometimes the table's black, sometimes it's white. It is always 24 inches by 48 inches, which is 2 feet by 4 feet for those who don't like doing the conversions. And if you are more accustomed to the metric system, my apologies. I was raised in America under the empirical system, where we were all told two things. One, we were told that in 10 years, everyone will be on the metric system, and they were close, everyone but us. And two, they were told, we need to learn how to do this on paper because we won't always have a calculator in our pocket. Well, they were wrong. because I have a calculator and then some in my pocket. Now, back up front here and back to the task at hand. Freedom Express, and it's Coachmen Ultralight sister, the Apex, that we also carry here at Haylett RV. They do one thing a little different up front. They mount the spare tire on the tongue, and they do this for a couple of reasons. One, it just kind of organically keeps it protected from the weather. Two, load equalization. Weight in front tows better than weight behind the axles. And three, it leaves the bumper open. If you want to add bike racks accessories, you know, feel free to do so. I kind of recommend you wait till warranties are done for stuff like that, but to each their own. I think Coachmen understands how people camp. And more to that point, one of the things that you're going to hear me talk about out here quite a bit, just like I spoke about it inside, is the way that a Freedom Express specifically is just really well appointed, not specifically for a salesperson, but for the actual RV user. Case in point, all centralized hookups in one nice little spot right here. Smart little details like that are going to help define the Freedom Express, like our black tank flush, our outside shower, even separate cable and satellite hookup systems. Now, before I get too far along, something I want to point out is all Freedom Express 281s, whether it's Liberty or Ultra, are going to have that enclosed forced air heated underbelly. An optional piece of equipment that we will often add to the Liberty Freedom Express series here is their radiant barrier package, which basically puts a heat reflective layering in the rear wall, up through the roof, and down around the nose. The reason it does those specific areas is those are the areas where the RV will absorb the greatest amount of solar radiation from the sun. So basically, guys, what it is it's a significant heating, cooling, like HVAC efficiency package. Now, all of our windows will open for air, all UV tinted, and when we get up close to the slide wall, if you listen, you can hear that really rough texture on this. And what that's doing is it's grabbing this wiper seal, and you can see how it's wiped all the way out right now, like it's supposed to. That's how they do their job. If it's crimped, it's not going to work. But to make sure of it one step further, if you look really closely, you can actually see how a Freedom Express has a little T-shaped wipe seal on here. It's very uncommon. I don't really see that used a lot in the industry. It's something that probably costs like 3 extra cents. And it's amazing how many trailers they're defined by 3 extra cents. But the fact is, Freedom Express is doing a couple things right there to make sure you don't have leaks around the slides. Because there are a lot of what the industry calls slide skeptics out there. And I don't blame you. And I don't say I don't blame you because slides are known to have problems. In fact, they're not. What I mean by I don't blame you is you need to buy according to your peace of mind. There are people who still seek cars that have manual windows and locks because they feel that it's less likely to fail and have a repair bill. So if that's your feelings, I don't necessarily agree. I don't necessarily think that that's realistically the way things work nowadays, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters how you feel, because it's your money making this purchase, guys. So don't ever let somebody talk you into or out of something that you're not 100% sure on. If you kind of, you're like, I don't know, I'm not after the slide out. Well, give us a call, because that's why we carry stuff like the 204RD Freedom Express, which is a very sharp, no slide Freedom Express model. So the ladder on the back, optional piece of equipment. So we've put on a bigger air. We generally put the radiant barrier package on the Liberty editions, not 100% of the time, but typically. But we do like to also put on the ladder on the back to make accessing that fully walkable roof a little simpler and easier. Now, one big thing I haven't talked about yet is a material called Azdel, and it really should have been the first thing I discussed when walking outside of a Freedom Express RV. A lot of folks are probably familiar with it, but understand that not 100% of people watch all of my videos or are fully informed, and that's why you're here, and I welcome you. But you see that white stuff inside the door jamb? That's the only place you can actually see Azdel, and obviously it's not impressive to look at, but it's what it does for you is impressive. Because remember that this camper is taller inside, but it's really not heavier. And in point of fact, actually, in the lightweight RV world, it is extremely competitive, despite physically having more cubic foot of space with the taller sidewalls. Well, the way that they accomplish that is two things. One, a lot of aluminum structuring and lamination to keep the weight in check. But two, that Azdel stuff It is significantly lighter than wood panels in the sidewalls. The material itself can't rot, mold, or mildew. It is very sound resistant, so it will help dampen noises. It's generally considered a better material for sidewall use. Now, there are some areas where Azdel is actually still not as good as Luan. Freedom Express doesn't use them there. Basically, on a horizontal application, like Freedom Express doesn't put Azdel in their laminated flooring because it doesn't carry as much weight. It has a lower load rating capacity. So they want to make sure that their floors are strong. So that's where sometimes, guys, different materials can be better in different applications. It's really important to understand those areas. And if you have questions, man, please call us, because I'm not the only guy here that knows my way around a trailer. I just might be the only one you've met so far. And a look with our awning open. What's nice here is they gave us a nice big patio space. We have tilt and lock awning arms. You can see we've got the full-length LED lighting below. And this is really going to be nearly identical to the lighting that we have in the pass-through storage itself. In the center of the awning, we do have our little outside speaker entertainment station along with some TV hookups above those spread axles right there. If you're not familiar with those, basically what they're going to do is they're going to help a little bit longer trailer like this track more nicely on the road. It won't tend to wiggle and bounce as much as a trailer with wheels a little bit closer together, unless it's something like a Rockwood that has a significantly upgraded suspension. Now, that little door below the refrigerator, remember, is the little outside grill that you can add to this as an optional piece of equipment. Again, not standard there. And just because I mentioned it, and because we did not have the power on earlier, give you a quick look at the pass-through lighting here in the basement area, or pass-through, or whatever you want to call it. So it doesn't matter what side of the basement you're getting into here. You've got a nice big bright, well-lit area. And the other switch, because I did flip on two switches, actually activates the docking lights up front here. Very handy if you're trying to hitch up in the morning to get an early start on the day and beat some of the traffic, or if you're, you know, getting in late at night, or whatever the case may be. Basically, doesn't matter when it is, just if it's dark, those are handy because, you know, they're light bulbs. Got some crazy skies rolling in. We're gonna get rained on here, so, but that doesn't matter, pardon me. I didn't climb on top of a roof to give you a weather report. No, instead, a couple things I want to point out. The fact that we have a white roof membrane. Now, this is a not too old used Freedom Express that we have sitting over there. Notice how it has that tan skin membrane. And visibly, I think it looks very cool. I think it kind of adds some color and character to the camper, but it also generates a lot more heat. And that's one of the main reasons Freedom Express went back to a traditional, boring, white roof membrane, because it will just reflect a lot of sun instead of absorb a lot of sun. One other quick note, new antenna compared to previous generation. This is the Winegard 360 system. Long story short, you don't have to turn it. You don't have to crank it. You get there, you scan channels, and you're done. Camping should be simple, easy, and fun, and this certainly, you know, qualifies for simple and easy to bring you the fun. So I think that that's moving in the right direction. Short of that, give us a call, guys. We only do everything here at Haylett RV, except for hidden fees. We don't do those, but we do hitching, pieces, parts, trades, financing, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything in between. So take care, stay safe, have fun, happy camping, everyone. And I'm going to get off this roof before I turn into a lightning rod. Oh, there goes a new Winnebago right now from Haylett RV. Woo!